welcome to day 8 of Making It Together, our live educational sessions that we are having throughout the month of March on all weekdays. I'm your host, Josh Ellsworth, broadcasting to you live on our Facebook page and our Facebook group. And I would encourage you to shout out, let me know where in the world you are watching from, and we are just excited to have you, and we're moving through new content every day. So keep filling out that survey that we will share in the comment thread. Make sure you fill it out once, and then you'll be entered into our giveaway, which is coming up. We're going to do that Friday of this week, and then we'll have kind of another one next week as we conclude the month of March, and then let you know what to look forward to next. But when you fill that out, I read those responses every day, and it helps to form some of my content. And so today, some of the content that we're going to deliver is directly from some responses we received since we started doing this, and we're seeing some common threads where people want to know how to decorate challenging items. So not only are we going to decorate what I think is a challenging item today, I'm going to try it for the first time for you together. So before we had to leave the office last week, I know Jenna had organized samples from a lot of the different blank apparel wholesalers, some new things for us to try. And so I was rummaging through boxes as I was packing stuff up to come to my home office here, my spare bedroom, and I found a jacket in there that I'm like, this is interesting. I wonder if this is going to be challenging to decorate. I think it will be. And so I want to test some stuff on that jacket this morning. So that's what we have to look forward to in a little bit. Not only are we going to decorate that jacket, we're going to talk about the profit opportunity for decorating items like this. And we're also going to talk a little bit about how to decorate performance wear with reflective materials. And we have a project that has 2 or 3 application areas, depending on what we have time for. And it should be a lot of fun today. I also have a PowerPoint presentation queued up where I'm going to walk you through what I call the sales growth equation. And it's just a way to think about your business and your business planning during this time, or in general, as we continue on through 2020 and beyond. So we have folks watching everywhere from South Dakota to Minnesota to Cleveland, South Carolina, Ottawa, Tampa, another person from Ohio, North Carolina. So all over the place. So we want to welcome you all back. If this is, if you've been here throughout the time, I'm just curious, has anybody been to all 8 sessions? If you can shout out if you've been to all 8 sessions, we want to thank you for joining in. I know these are recorded, so you don't always have to attend them live, but I certainly like when you attend them live, because then I can get your live comments and questions throughout. So as I mentioned yesterday, and we went through a little bit, I published this yesterday, which is called the Apparel Decorating Business Survival Guide. This was written specifically for addressing your business needs in the time that we are in right now with this downturn due to the pandemic, the coronavirus. And so you will get my top 4 ideas and tips. In this guide, we're going to share the link with you where you can be able to click and download it. We've emailed it this morning, I believe, to all of our customers. We've shared it on Twitter yesterday, LinkedIn yesterday, our Facebook page and groups yesterday and today. So we are trying to get this into as many hands as possible of apparel decorators. And this walks you through selling online. It walks you through some ideas to make sure you have loyalty from your customers after this thing ends, to be able to give you some ideas on what you can do to help them during this time. It talks a little bit about some manufacturing ideas with being able to produce product from home and design your product with as little risk as possible. And it also talks about the importance of collaboration during a time like this. So for those of you that got a chance to read it, I would welcome you to please give me feedback, share feedback in our different Facebook groups. I think you guys are really going to enjoy the content, hopefully be able to execute some ideas. So what I wanted to do is, as we look through this, I want to show you a couple of the spirit sales stores that have been stood up, which are examples within the guide. And so Jenna was able to design these for us on a quick turn Monday morning, Sunday night. This one shows Just Brew It Coffee House. So it's a dummy site, of course, for you to use as a sample in your business. And it talks about profits go towards donations for this local coffee house. So the idea that's put forth in the guide is now is the time to connect with local businesses in your community and offer to do this in order to help. It'll drive some business to you. It'll certainly help them to be able to keep awareness for their business in the community, and potentially, if you set it up as a fundraiser, which I would recommend, allow you to give some money back. So I've seen in some of the other Facebook groups where others have done this. Instead of just doing it specific for that business, they've done a general design and then put multiple business logos across the back. And so they're kind of hitting all the local businesses down Main Street at once and making sure a percentage of the total thing goes to each business. So you can decide how you want to do it, but I think reaching out to local businesses, getting them around an idea, and launching a spirit sale is a great idea right now for your business. And the good news, when you read the guide, you'll see that we have a special offer on spirit sale that will allow you to use spirit sale for this time for absolutely nothing. And so read the guide, see how to access that, and I think it'll give you a chance to work on your business, to try something like this, to create web stores to sell online, and potentially help some local businesses in your community, because we all survive and thrive when small businesses like yours do well. Want to show you another concept that was put forth in the guide. So this is another web store, which was more of a B2C play for selling to consumers. You can see that this says Social Distance King, so it's staying-home.spiritsale.com. So you can launch literally hundreds of websites, create your own unique website link, and you can have multiple website sites for as many ideas as you have running concurrently and collecting orders. And so you see some of the concepts put forth for social distancing, quarantine, and chill, straight out of whatever you're out of in your refrigerator. So grocery stores, probably bread right now, all those things. So all kinds of different concepts here for you to share, steal, do whatever you want. And you can find that guide. We've shared the link in the comment thread here. And then if you visit any of our Facebook pages or anywhere we do social media, you'll see a link to be able to download that guide for absolutely nothing. We don't even ask for your information. Just take the guide and use the concepts to keep your business alive during this time. So those are a couple of the ideas. And then as I was researching this morning for this presentation, Transfer Express, which is one of our divisions, has a great blog post that just hit their blog. And so this is kind of our news section here, where they've added a lot of new layouts to their Easy View Designer. And so you can read through this on transferexpress.com. It's their blog post, and it will call out, it'll show you the layouts, and it will call out the layout name. So when you invest in Transfer Express, buy a marketing kit, set up an account, you get an idea book, you get access to their online designers, which is literally probably tens of thousands of layouts and clip art pieces that will help you create artwork easily to grow your business. And you can certainly share this info with customers too. If you guys run Facebook groups, Todd, I know you do, share it out there. We want to help as many small businesses as possible during this time. People may buy product from us. They may buy it from another supplier. It doesn't matter. We just want people to get through this. So this blog post is really cool. So it has some different concepts and some different layouts that are new into the system. And basically, if you set up an account with Transfer Express, you just take this layout number. So this is QPR-38. I'm going to go over into the Easy View Designer. Let me give you a better look at this. In the Easy View Designer on transferexpress.com, you can go to Easy Prints Layout or upload your own artwork. But if you go to Easy Prints Layouts, you can enter that particular code. Now, of course, they're showing up right here because they've just been added. You see some stuff added for some of the markets that need our help right now and still buying, like registered nurses, EMS, etc., cleaning services. So we're always giving you artwork that you can customize. So the idea here is when you're in the Easy View Designer, you pull up whatever piece of artwork you want. It drops it onto the page, and you can say, change Compton Chamber of Commerce to Fayette County Chamber of Commerce, whatever you want it to be. Change the font, move around the layout, even get to the point where you can size this accordingly and fit as many designs as you can on a sheet, and then order what's called a screen printed transfer. So this Easy View Designer is fantastic. If you only buy one thing during this time from us, what I would recommend buying is the marketing kit. It is right here under our transfers, our marketing tools. under transferexpress.com. You can buy this Easy Prints marketing kit. It's going to give you a lot of sample transfers so you can understand what screen printed transfers are. And we are running a special. This is referenced in the survival guide I mentioned up front. It's only $35 through the end of this month with the $12 shipping. So under $50, you get this business in a box. You can read through everything that this has. It's going to give you ideas, things to test, things to sell, and most importantly, access to EasyView. And once you get access to EasyView, we've connected that with Spirit Sale. So that means when you sign up for Spirit Sale and you start launching web stores, you'll be able to pull your artwork that you've designed over in EasyView into Spirit Sale and put it on your product. So I asked Jenna to take some of those new Transfer Express layouts and see if she can set up a model store that you guys can use as well. So you can leverage some of those 4 or 5 new layouts that Transfer Express just put forth to be able to sell through web store concepts. So it's a great kit. I think that you're going to like the products in it, but more importantly, you're going to like the ideas and the ability to generate business right now in this time. So that's kind of my opening and what I wanted to talk to you about that shares the survival guide. Make sure you download that. Make sure you sign up for access on Transfer Express and start working on your business. And so when we talk about working on our business, and I just want to shout out, have some people watching from Michelle from Iowa. I have Leslie watching. Welcome back for another class. Sam, we shared some concepts on where you can find the guide. Marlena, welcome back. Richard, appreciate you watching our videos. And we're not broadcasting live to YouTube, but we're certainly on YouTube, Maria. So just look for our Stahls TV YouTube channel. We have probably thousands of videos at this point that you guys can enjoy. And then our team has shared the link to the survival guide so you could download it. So I want to go to a PowerPoint next because I want to talk about this with you. So let me share my screen one more time. So in this Making It Together Day 8, this is kind of the business concepts that I want you to understand. And I'm going to move through this fairly quickly so we can get to the hands-on projects in about 15 minutes or so. And basically the concept here, got to find my button. I got too many monitors here. There we go. So this is what I'm saying is the sales growth equation. And so what I really believe is the goal as a business is to generate maximum profit in total, which tracks back to every month, which tracks back to every order, which tracks back to every garment, et cetera, down to the smallest possible decision. You need to be thinking about profit first, as we hear from a lot of educators out there in the industry. So profit is an important thing to business. So when you look at the sales growth equation, the way I believe you can generate maximum profit is by start with the target customer. That's the multiplication part of it. So you need to figure out what customers do you want to sell to. If you want to sell to landscaping companies, that would be your target customer. Then you need to create a relevant plus a unique offer. And so what I mean is something that a landscaping company business owner is going to care about. It's going to have to be relevant to them. And so it's probably going to have to, when you do your marketing materials and your sales materials, you want it to be the types of garments that they're buying, maybe sets of garments that they're going to wear. You also want it to be artwork that's relevant to them. Potentially, a lot of them don't have design ability, so you can be their graphic design services, use EasyView and say, hey, here are some concepts. If they have their own artwork, being able to get that onto a shirt in a quality way. So you want to be relevant to whoever that target customer is. But you start with the target customer, you define the customers that you want to service, and then group those customers into buckets. So if a landscaping company and a construction company value the same thing, they would go in the same bucket together when you are creating your marketing and sales plan, your business approach to those types of customers. If they value different things, then you're going to want to create separate offers for them. And so I always say start with the customer, craft something relevant that they care about, and then make sure you have unique value. And this is really crafting what we call a value proposition, is making sure that you have something unique that the customer is going to value so you can sell it through, number one, and then sell it through without price pressure, because it's going to be so relevant to the customer that they're not going to look at a generalist offering t-shirts to be on the same level as you. If you are incorporating things like logo design services, consulting on the garments and the blank, snag free, different things. So you want to become an expert, make sure you've crafted some unique value into your offer that leverages who you are as a company and leverages the technology that you have. And so that's where I'm going to spend some time today. I think we all know the concept of, brainstorming and coming up with what a customer is. I think we can do an exercise where we say, okay, what does that customer value? What are their pain points, to be able to say these are the things that they're going to care about. But then it really goes to, how can I fulfill that need at my shop? And so I always like to say this is the My Shop Advantage exercise. You can jot down these questions. You can watch this presentation later, but you need to be very specific about what your strengths are as the business owner or whatever role you play in the shop. Then you need to say, what are the strengths of my team? What can we do? Do I have a graphic artist on staff where I can turn art quickly? Well, maybe that should be part of my offer that a lot of other people can't offer if they're just operating, without that ability as a sole proprietor of the business. The other thing you want to say is, what are the advantages of my sales location? And I know this is a touchy one right now because a lot of us have been through forced closures of our sales locations, but our locations will open back up. We will have retail stores for those of us that have them. We will have websites with traffic for those of us that have them. Wherever you are realizing transactions, you need to make sure that that is part of your unique offer, that you are leveraging that space better than what a home business is. The same thing, if you're a home business, you need to leverage the fact that you are lean and nimble and don't have the overhead better than what somebody with a retail space has. So the point is, it's going to be personalized to every unique situation. And once you figure this out, this will actually help you form through decisions on whether you should go out and move into a space or whether you should close down a space and move to a leaner model. This will help you. And then lastly what are the strengths of my printing technology? So I always say, when you go to a trade show, once a trade show is open back up, we're never going to go into a trade show and just load up on equipment. But believe it or not, a lot of people do that because they like toys. They like to make stuff and figure things out. This is a creative industry. That's why a lot of us entered it. And so you buy a DTG, a printer cutter, a screen printing press, an embroidery machine, and all of a sudden I have 5 pieces of equipment that I need to learn, which is great. And so you want to know the strengths, though, of the print technology and really invest in a technology that your customer is going to value, how that makes something relevant and unique to them. So, of course, I'm assuming that we have a lot of people with heat presses on the line. And so what I want to do is really focus on the strengths of the print technology of heat printing today, and also be able to kind of lay out what I think some of those advantages are to you, and then demonstrate them on the heat press. Because whenever we talk about creating something relevant and unique, it's important to really understand why your heat press is going to give you an advantage over another technology that somebody else may have that prints shirts or makes items. So with that in mind, let's talk about creating unique value with heat printing technology. I have about 5 or 6 quick points here on where heat printing technology stands out. Number 1 is any fabric. Really, I like to say the science is in the transfer. So when you order a transfer that's ready to apply, whatever that may be, or you cut it on your vinyl cutter, there is actually a lot of technology that goes into this adhesive side of the transfer that makes it stick and makes it stay onto the fabric. Now, you do need to understand the transfer options and the heat transfer vinyl options, etc., that are out there and what adhesives they utilize. But the cool thing is, if you can do your homework, attend classes like this, learn on websites, understand that these transfers are good for these types of fabrics, there is literally a fabric or a transfer for nearly every fabric on the market. I think the lone exception is silicone swim caps that we haven't been able to conquer, but almost anything else you can heat apply to any fabric, even garments that are may bleed. And so I think that is a big deal. And when you're talking about screen printing and other processes, there's really a lot of trial and error and a lot of steps in the process to be able to do a fabric. With a heat press, it's actually fairly simple. source the right product, apply it at the right time, temperature, and pressure, and now I'm decorating these challenging fabrics. Next is any item. And I think this one's really big. We started off these making it together sessions on day one. And the first thing I did was personalize an umbrella like you see here. And I tried to put forth this point that with the right heat press and with the right know-how, you can customize nearly any item. And so I always say the example is if I'm selling to a school or a business, or you name the client, your target customer, if I only have, let's say, a direct-to-garment printer at my disposal, if I've spent my 20 grand and I've invested in that, then I'm going to be able to go in and I'm going to be able to sell some version of a t-shirt, right? A t-shirt, a sweatshirt. You may be able to do the Converse shoes or the underbill of a hat, some of the unique applications that we see. But certainly there's a lot more factors involved with that. With a heat press, however, as long as you can fit it onto your platen, which we'll show you here in a minute, I can find a product that'll stick to it, since we can do nearly any fabric. And so when I go into that school or that business now, instead of just a t-shirt and a hoodie, maybe they already have a supplier for that, I can show a lot of different products, maybe backpacks or umbrellas. We showed you a handbag or a purse earlier in the week. We showed you a stuffed animal yesterday. So think of your client and think about all of the different items you can make with just a heat press in a very small amount of space. As I said, I'm in a spare bedroom, 7 foot by 7 foot space. So that's a big deal. Next is creative placement. So in addition to just items, what you really need to do is think about placement. So when you're launching the spirit sale websites, or when you're even just coming up with a quote or talking to a customer, you should be doing something a little bit more sexy than just a left chest graphic on a polo. You have the ability to hit nearly any location on a garment. So you can be completely creative with where you are applying to. And what I like to say is these are branding opportunities. And you'll see in a subsequent slide here that there are a lot of different branding opportunities and locations on the products that we wear, especially in the corporate market. So think about placement and how you're merchandising your product, because it's not that easy to hoop certain products or certain placements on certain items. It's not that easy to get them onto the screen printing press without having to burn another screen, certainly not at low quantity, high color. So there's a lot of advantages there. Here's a good example of that with our logo here. So I always like to say, and we've linked to it where you can download the design placement guide. This is a quick clip of what you'll get. But anywhere you would put a tattoo, or somebody would put a tattoo, is somewhere you should think about placement as far as logos when on these products people are wearing. Next is, and I think this is my last one at the moment, is unique finishes. And so when you talk through heat printing, there are literally hundreds of finishes, probably too many finishes on what you can do. So whether that is foil or patterns or reflective or tonal or clear or rhinestones or fabric, I mean, there are just so many different finishes that you can do with heat printing. And so what finishes equal is profit in my book, or new customer types. And so we're seeing reflective products continue to hold strong for visibility right now for some of the industries that are still buying product. We're seeing that a lot, certainly in the safety side of the market. There are certainly opportunities for products like SimStitch, which we showed you earlier, and then embroidered patches and badges and leather. So there's a lot of different looks you can create with heat printing. So I do have a lookbook that I can show with some different finishes, but I feel like we should get up and press something together to go through. So I did see a comment, and I apologize, I can't see everybody's name on the comments with how I'm watching here because we're broadcasting 2 places at once. This poster says, I still can't get acrylic beanies pressed right. So yeah, acrylic is one of those super heat sensitive fabrics. One of the ways we've been able to do a better job on items that are super heat sensitive is by heating from underneath. And so there is a chance that it won't be able to be completed with just the top heat only. You may need to invest in something like our power platens that allow you to heat the item from the inside out. Those power platens are also particularly good for things like this, the leather patch or any dimensional logo, because the adhesive is, through the thickness of the patch, which is quite thick. So you can apply these with top heat, but in researching for the show, I really wanted to put this on the jacket that I'm going to show you, but it called for 360 degrees for 20 seconds of top heat. And I'm like, that's going to kill this jacket, I think. So I'm not going to be able to show that. I don't even think I should test that. And so what I'm going to do is go back to the office at some point over the weekend, and then I'll grab one of those power platens and we'll be able to show you. So usually these dimensional logos are small. The decorating your beanie is a small placement. And so what I would recommend doing is just investing in the little 6x6 inch power platen. That's the least expensive one with the control board. And I think you can get out the door for less than $600 with that control board in that power platen that heats from underneath as well as the top. And so that allows you to drop your top heat and just heat from underneath. So let's see. I'm going to talk about unique items first and high margin items. So this is one of the items that I wanted to test. So this is a jacket from Sanmar. It's a sort of puffer style jacket is what it looks like through the screen, but it is missing the foam, which is really cool. So we were able to source this from Sanmar without the filler. The item number, this is the ladies version. It's L850. And at 24 pieces, this costs about $29, $30 to get it to me. And so again, what I like about this is you might say that's expensive, but if you think if you're going to press a t-shirt, it's going to take you the same amount of time, pretty close. We're talking seconds or low number of minutes to make this jacket as it would to make a t-shirt. And so when you talk about profit per piece, I can sell this jacket in the $55 price point and be able to turn probably $20 in profit for the same amount of time that it would cost me to turn $5 in profit on a t-shirt. So that's why I like to focus on this. So I saw a comment from Arthur about out of focus. I look clear in my own screen. So hopefully if you guys can respond to Arthur, let me know if there's an issue overall, but hopefully it's clear to you. I'm going to swap out this 16x20 platen because the jacket has, of course, a zipper structure that I'm going to have to deal with. I'm going to go to the 6x10 attachment and load it on. This is the Hotronix Auto Clam heat press. I'm going to unzip the jacket, and I'm trying to get to just this left chest placement area. And so I've done a ton of track jackets on this press with this 6x10 platen. Occasionally I use a pillow along with the platen. And basically usually what I do, actually I usually do it the other way. I'm going to rotate that sideways. I just load it like this and get down to a single layer and make sure that the seams are draped off as much as I can. And so the other nice thing about when you source products that are designed for decorating, I don't know when heat transfer needs to get recognized out there, but they have this port pocket, which is easy access for clean embroidery. This is what it says. That should be a heat transfer pocket too. So I'm going to have to talk to them. But you can unzip this. It's just a little hidden pocket on the inside. And that actually allows you to split the item and hoop it so we can get to these print locations. So that's a nice thing about some of the industry suppliers like Sanmar. They have these port pockets that will make it a little bit easier to print. Now, port pocket's just a little bit too small where I can't fit it on that way. I could always grab a pillow or a pad and stuff it inside of there and then lay it on top. That would be a good way to do it. But since it's too small, I'm really not worried about this sticking together at all. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it on top. There's no additional seam structure behind here. It's smooth. So most of my issues, if any issues, are going to come from the top layer. So this is a polyester based jacket. I'm at 290 degrees. I'm going to grab my cover sheet and I'm going to do a preheat. Also checking my pressure at this time. So I'm at a 4 pressure. I was using a smaller attachment yesterday, the 7-inch round. After I preheat that, I'm going to take my design and position it into place. Now, when I look at this jacket being 100% polyester, I'm a little bit concerned about something called dye migration, which means the jacket bleeding through my print. And so You can test a variety of materials on this and not have to worry about it. But what I've done instead is just, I don't know, so I've picked a dye block material. So this has a charcoal-based adhesive. It's called AquaTrue from Transfer Express. And then I also have a print cut design that's multicolor. This is a CAD prints, and it's called Sublastop, which means it has this charcoal backing to it. And so anytime you're decorating a 100% poly item, sometimes they want to bleed. If I'm doing a high-end item like this, I don't want to risk the bleeding. So I'm just going to go ahead and source the product or make the product with this dye block adhesive. And so I'm going to start with the Sublastop version, and I'm going to lay it on top here. Get a look at my jacket to make sure my placement's good. Again, I like to pinch top shoulder where the seam structure meets. Make sure it's centered there. And then I'm going to cover it back up. Now, Sublastop applies at 280 to 300 degrees for 2 steps each of 5 seconds. And I like that because it keeps the heat off of my item for a long length of time, which is going to reduce the potential that it's going to scorch. So I'm going to bring it down to 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, and let's go ahead and lock this down and take a look and see if we can have some success here. If I had to do over again, I probably would have preheated that base platen for just 20 or 30 seconds before I loaded my jacket, but I've applied it already. And so this is a warm peel, so I'm just giving it like 5-10 seconds to cool down. I'm going to start lifting it. I know it's tough to see here, so I'll try to bring it up and lift it. Just start lifting it, and this isn't on there to stay, but this is at least on there enough for me to be able to cover it and finish the application. So I got really good adhesion there. This is a 2-step application, so I'm going to have to cover it again for 5 seconds and finish applying it. The cover sheet I'm using is a craft paper. You can use a non-stick cover sheet as well. It'll leave more of a glossy finish, whereas craft paper tends to matte the finish up when it comes in direct contact with your transfer. And so this is complete, and I want you to see this really close if I can make it happen. So it's a really nice high quality. I've had success, actually no issues. I am seeing the thread kind of come through. Sometimes where you see this horizontal thread pattern where the jacket's sewn on these style of jackets, sometimes it's not even the jacket that bleeds, it's the polyester thread that bleeds. So you'll put a, let's just say a fashion film or premium plus white design on there, and then you'll see the thread marks, the blue thread that's used, start to bleed through the print. And so it's always better anytime you see you're applying over top of thread or you're applying 100% poly item, if you can jump to something that has a dye block adhesive, or at least is a little bit thicker, like our thermofilm, it's going to have a higher likelihood of a result. So this looks good. I think I could easily sell this, but I wanted to test some more things on this. So I'm going to go to the other left chest location, and I'm going to try to apply the AquaTrue to see if we get a good result. Again, I'm going to preheat. Now, AquaTrue is a screen printed transfer. That means we are actually screen printing. It's a water-based product, so it's softer, a little nicer finish. The thing I like about AquaTrue is it also applies to nylon, so it does have high minimums because you're screen printing it, but it also applies to nylon, which is a really nice thing. This design is really pushing the limits of my print area, so it may overlap and not look good from that standpoint, but I just wanted to test it. So this product applies, I wrote it down, 275 degrees for 12 to 15 seconds. So I'm at 290. My next application is going to be closer to 290, so I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to move my time up to 12 seconds. And then we're going to lock it down. Now this is a hot peel. So immediately when it opens, I'm going to be able to peel the backing hot. And then I'm going to come up and look at some questions and comments. I see Brian mentioned that silicone is also great to work with. Yes, silicone, thank you for that. I forgot about that. It's a, this is a hot peel right away. That looks awesome. Silicone is a different formula altogether. And so with the silicone product, it actually lets the dyes pass through rather than blocking the dyes. And so we call it silicone dye block. It comes in about 6 colors on Stahls.com, and it actually comes in a roll. I have a roll over on the shelf here, so maybe we'll do a project with silicone on a future day, design something, cut it, and heat apply it. So we've linked to the AquaTrue product, which is our water-based transfer. We've also, there was a question from Kathy, can we screen print go on to a nylon drawstring bag? So yes, the AquaTrue can go on a nylon drawstring bag. So we're seeing no marking. We see a really high quality result. So pick your poison. I think this is a perfect item to customize. I'm glad that Sanmar has come out with something like this because there's a lot of margin. It's certainly on trend in style and a lot of opportunity. So as you're planning for fall, and we're trying to get ahead of the calendar here for you, fall, winter, those jackets are going to be coming back in style. Perhaps you start to think of, how can I stand up a program and intentionally have a jacket program that includes maybe a jacket and whatever items complement. I always like packaging things together. Who could potentially buy that? Let me make some samples, create a brochure, create some websites, and let me go out and intentionally find customers to buy this product and set up my pricing grid so I can generate maximum revenue. So that's the point here, is we're trying to show you how you can take the fight to somebody, so to speak, instead of just waiting. I really think the mark of a successful business is thinking, being curious, being creative, coming up with something, thinking it through from a profitability standpoint, knowing your numbers, and being able to go out and drum up the business effectively. All right. So let's see. I have some questions coming in. Let me look back through my comment thread for just one second. All right. People shouting out from Kansas. Glad you guys are all chatting and knowing where you're watching from. I appreciate that. We got Dimitri from Minneapolis, Kelly from Kansas, Suzette from Arizona, Joe from Northern Michigan. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't see any other major questions coming in that need addressed right now. So back to the screen for just one second. And the next piece is, so that was any fabric, any item. So don't be afraid to try new items. Now is the time to experiment. Robert from Holland, welcome. Thanks for watching. The next piece I want to talk to you about is finishes, because we said any finish. That was the last comment here, is unique finishes. And so when we start to talk about flock yesterday, silicone today, we start to talk about finishes. I want to show you 4 things that we've seen trending since really 2019 when it comes to finishes. And this will be just a highlight reel of with some photos of some finishes. So number 1, we see dimension and texture that you can touch as being something trending. So people either really want it really soft so you can't feel it, or they want some texture to it. And silicone has that rubbery texture where it fits that. But one of our top products that we've been educating on here is FlexStyle. So we have this product called FlexStyle. This can be done as a heat transfer or a pressure sensitive logo, and it can be applied to items. So actually, I'm going to step over to the other side here and grab something, spur of the moment. So do this project's pretty cool. So this is a just a water bottle, and this is, come back to you, our textured FlexStyle. So you can get FlexStyle in metallic, or you can get it in flat, which was the 49ers image I just showed you on the screen. You can also get it pressure sensitive, which means basically a sticker, or you can get it heat applied. And so the cool thing about the pressure sensitive is all you have to do is peel the backing off. This is very sticky. I have a sticker on the back of my laptop. I've made them for cell phone cases, and I've made them for drinkware. And so it's one of the easiest products that you can source. Now, you probably want to have some marking for positioning, but just for spur of the moment, I'm going to kind of just eyeball it, position it into place. And FlexStyle is as simple as applying pressure, right? So just put the sticker on there, apply pressure to it in all areas, kind of like squeegeeing with your fingers. Once you've applied the pressure, Then you're just going to peel the backing. Boom. And I have a completed result. A high-end item just like that. Top rack dishwasher safe. So I did a ton of these for a teacher appreciation day. Actually, I think it was a Christmas gift a while back for my daughter's school. This is a product that can be heat applied. Again, recommend those heated lower platens, what we call the power platens, or the pressure sensitive version for creating unique gifting sellable items. So think about some of these products. So those are really cool products. So when we start to talk about texture, I wanted you to have a visual of what we're talking about here. So Flex Style not only comes in a texture style, but it comes in a dome style. So this has more rounded surfaces, but same product choices, but you're seeing on the image here that we're operating with more of a rounded surfaces. Also flat. So some people don't want a texture or don't want a domed finish to their logo. So you can get this dimensional logo in a flat style and then also a beveled style that gives you this beveled 3D surface. So all of these are available on Stahls.com. You can get them heat applied or pressure sensitive. Minimum is 25 pieces, but it really starts to become cost effective at 50 pieces. So I always give people the tip: design with a logo size that can fit on various items and placements, because you don't want to be having to order 50 pieces of the same logo in 3 different sizes. The quantities add up pretty quickly, but really a premium profit product when we talk about Flex Style. Next, when we talk about dimension and texture you can touch, we showed this the other day, but SimStitch, this is a product that looks like it's embroidered and it's just heat applied. And so SimStitch comes from Stahls pre-spaced. All you need is a heat press to be able to decorate with this product. Distressed applique. Now you do need your embroidery machine for this one, but we're still seeing a lot of growth in distressed looks and finishes. You can always order your transfers from Transfer Express Distressed, but this distressed applique is a really cool product, particularly for the front of fleece. It has just what we call a bean stitch, and so fewer stitches equals faster sew time. You're not needing a zigzag stitch or a satin stitch. And we'll talk about embroidery finishes maybe a little more tomorrow, and I'll show you some examples of a pretty cool product that we call Rip Away Applique. Next trend is designs that you can see. And again, we're seeing growth in reflective products. So visibility for safety markets, trending looks, and reflective performance. We're also seeing it in our high-vis reflective. That's the product we're going to heat apply in just a moment to finish our time together today. I'm going to show you the high-vis color reflective onto performance wear and how cool that looks. Glow in the dark. Seasonal product typically, but this is also good for restaurants and bars. I've actually had some customers that have done it for nightclubs where they just literally put a square of glow on the shirt. Don't ask me, but apparently with a blue laser pointer, I believe it's a blue laser pointer or a green, you can write messages on the glow. So some pretty cool concepts that people are executing with glow in the dark. You charge it for 2 hours in the sunlight or in the light of a room, and it glows for 2 hours. So pretty cool. And yeah, Jill, to answer your question, the Flex Style pressure sensitive does stay really, really good on these items. I went to that Shirt Lab conference last May, and the gentleman that runs at Marshall was telling me a story because I gave everybody an emblem with the Shirt Lab logo. One lady put it on a cup, and she's been running it through her dishwasher constantly, and now she's happy with it, and she's out there selling it regularly. So it definitely lasts. I have firsthand experience with that. Lastly, I'm sorry, 2 more. Finishes that match the garment. And so in this case, products that are soft. So whether that's the AquaTrue that we just applied, or if you have a vinyl cutter, products like Premium Plus that blend in to the garment, feel just like the garment, stretch and recover with it as performance wear, synthetics, tri-blends continue to grow. Again, softer when it comes to foil. And so this metallic product is our latest foil product that can be cut on a vinyl cutter. Feels extremely soft, and forget what day it was now, but on one of our Making It Together episodes, if you go back and watch, they're all on YouTube or Facebook, you can see 3 ways to do foil. This metallic product was one way with just a vinyl cutter. It looks and it feels great. And then lastly, designs in your color plus full color. So people don't want to be choked down and restricted on how many colors that they can do. And so the idea behind this is that whether it's a print cut material like the CAD prints design we showed you on the first jacket application earlier, it's a great option, or our stretch lithomat digital screen printed transfers. Color is not an issue for the technology of heat printing. So that should be one of your sales pitches. Even with glitter, you can do a full color transfer where we print and cut this for you, or you can sublimate on the white glitter flake yourself. So certainly plenty of options when it comes to servicing customers with the heat press. And that's what I wanted you to get a feel for, is that you are not limited at all as far as what items you can do, what fabrics you can do, what logos you can do, what finishes you can do. And so a heat press is a very powerful thing that's fueling your business and your business planning, as long as you understand the choices that are out there for you. So keep attending our education. Visit our website with heat transfer vinyl that we've just shared, and you'll see all of these finishes and styles that are available to you. All right, so I think I'm still caught up on questions. I don't know the answer, Miriam, as far as when SimStitch will be available in the UK, but that's something we can check on and get back to you to see if there are plans to be able to do that. And with Silkscreen, so with our screen printed transfers, Suzette, we are still open. We are manufacturing transfers at our Arizona facility and shipping those out. And for our East Coast customers, we still do our Speedy Air program that allows us to get it to you in 2 days for the same $12 flat rate shipping. So we are still up, we are operational. And as you'll read in the survival guide, we talk about all of that as well. All right, cool. So let's head back to the press for our last application together. Got over 100 of you watching. Thanks for sticking with me. This will be our last project together before we conclude. This is another garment. This particular one is Ogio, so it's a really high-end performance blank. You can see it has a little bit of texture and style to it. It also has a unique cut to it as far as the tank top style, and it's 100% performance wear polyester. And so on this product, I wanted to show you the high vis reflective. Now it's not going to reflect on the screen, but this is a black reflective. And so it still reflects silver when you hit it with the light, but it looks black on the garment. And so we wanted to show you a tone on tone style on this particular garment. So I'm going to guess that my 11 by 15 inch attachment is going to be the right size one for this garment. So let's start there. Somebody asked what to look for in a heat press. So I always say, of course, you want accuracy and quality, time, temperature, and pressure. But the other big thing I say is loadability. So if you're following along, it's all about the locations you can print, the items you can press. So you're going to want a heat press that can be loaded with a lot of different items. And to get good loadability, you need to have what I call threadability, this cantilever design to split your item and load it on, and also the interchangeable platen. So since I put a new platen on, I'm going to cover and just figure out my pressure and also do my preheat. All right, so I'm at a medium pressure of a 4 right now, is what I was trying to get to. Then this has been cut on a vinyl cutter. This high vis reflective does come in a roll, so you can cut it on your vinyl cutter, or you can order it pre-cut from us just like this, where you just peel the backing off, trim it apart, and heat press it. And so in this case, I'm operating on my 11 by 15. Oh man, that is exactly 11 inches when I lay it on there. So it is really squeezing the edges of this platen. I don't ever recommend getting that tight. You want to leave maybe like a 1/4 inch at least from your edge of your platen, because every once in a while you'll get a little bit of a drop off in pressure there at the very edge of either your top or your lower platen. And so I really don't like to stretch those limits. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this off and rotate my platen. I'll leave the design in place. If I had to design this from scratch, I would have just made my design about 10.5 inches. That way I could have gotten rid of this seam structure. Now this seam structure needs to be up on the platen, which may cause an issue. So the way to combat that, because on performance wear it probably would gloss up, I'm going to insert a pillow. And so what happens is when you insert a pillow, the seams will absorb down into a pillow, and it reduces the likelihood that you're going to mark it. Now, these heat printing pillows are available from Stahls.com. I wouldn't recommend using these ever with a screen printed transfer because you're not going to be able to get the pressure that you need. But for a heat transfer vinyl, the pillows are a great tool to have. It's usually how I do all of my sleeves on this press, because it's tough to use the single leg and sleeve platen. So I just use a pillow to press all that. And again, as I mentioned, I'm doing these on the spot. I wanted you to kind of go through my head and think like I think on the job. Now that pillow is too small, where it's falling off the edges of the pillow. So I'm going to go grab a larger pillow now. It'll only take me a second. So this is my 16 by 20 pillow. And for what it's worth, I might as well go back to the 16 by 20 platen. And if I were running a job of these, you'll see how I would set up to efficiently do all of them. I would load that 16 by 20 platen. You can lay that pillow right on top of the platen. You may have seen it in my videos before. I can also peel back this quick slip cover and lock the pillow inside the platen so I don't have to fumble with it right underneath this base. That works as well. And now I'm going to split my item and load it onto here. Good. So now I'm definitely going to be able to have the item sink down into the pillow, be able to hit my full print location at the spot that I want it to. So at this point, let's start over and do that pressure adjustment because I've added the thickness of a pillow. So the question was, how do you work with buttons, seams, and zippers using screen print transfers if you don't use a pillow from Suzette? So there is something called a Print Perfect pad that you can use. It's a little bit more expensive of an accessory, but you can buy a Print Perfect pad, which is basically the gray rubber pad that's on the bottom of your heat press anyways at different sizes. And you can cut those up and be able to use those to insert. So position it and then heat apply. So again, I'm pressing the high vis color reflective. All of that seam structure is sinking down in there. Probably should have used a cover sheet, but that's okay. I usually like to use the cover sheet when I'm pressing performance wear because that helps prevent the direct contact of the heat. Now, this high vis reflective, we say a cold peel. I find on polyester, you can peel it a little bit warm, depending on the polyester. I've done backpacks and all sorts of items with this, so I'm pretty experienced with it. So I always like to start on the first one, start to lift the edge. And as long as there's no lifting, I feel confident about peeling it. And that will prevent it from like gripping the shirt and leaving a mark when it pulls it up. So you can kind of see, you know, our finished tonal result on there. Really nice, high quality. It's a little bit sheer, so you're seeing the backing through it there, not any marking at all. I'm looking at it and it looks, not even seeing a marking on the seams where it was pressed. So now I want to do a location here because I'm talking about branding and placement location. So I want to print one right here. And this pillow is really going to help me with that because then the seam structure is going to sink right down into it. You could always just insert the pillow into the item as well, rather than threading it if you need to. I'm going to preheat this side. I'm going to use a different color. In this case, I'm going to use our orange color, the high vis reflective. That's just their Infinity insignia. So just a small brand mark. I'm going to position that into place, and it is really tight against these seams, but the pillow is going to sink in and allow me to hit that location. Now, I do like to just give it a little bit more pressure when I'm running that tight because that'll fight through some of those seams as they're sinking in to make sure I get good adhesion on the edges of my design. And again, once you press one or two, you'll get a feel for the adhesion, and you'll be able to run the whole job a lot quicker. So again, it's pressed. Give it a few seconds just to cool down. And then I'm going to peel it. Now, it did start to lift there, so I'm impatient. If it starts to lift, you are going to have to press it again because you've already started to lift the adhesive from the shirt. But usually I like to just start then from a different corner. Peel it, and then just cover it with a cover sheet and finish it for a few seconds just to make sure that edge is locked back in. So heating, reheating products usually doesn't matter at all as long as you're not overheating them at some crazy temperature or some crazy amount of time. All I'm doing here is giving it the same exact application that it just received. So I'll pull this off. The Teflon pillows tends to stay a little bit hot, and you can see I have a nice branding area, kind of matches the tag on the inside, a brand insignia. So what I'm trying to show you here is this is your secret weapon of heat printing, being able to do this type of stuff. And I'll post a photo after this session ends in our Facebook group, which is Heat Press for Profit, where I'll take a photo of this shirt in a dark room with my flash on, and you'll see how both elements really reflect. And yeah, Kelly, that was the black high-vis reflective. So a little bit pricier on the cost, but when you look at what it cost you to make the logo, what you can sell it for, and eliminating your competition, I think you'll find that these special effects are a really big advantage to an apparel decorator that has a heat press and a vinyl cutter potentially. So with that in mind, I'm out of breath, changing platens, changing pillows, and talking the whole time. I need to jump on the treadmill, I think, for the rest of the day. But want to thank you all for attending our Making It Together live educational sessions. If this is your first one, we're already on day 8. We're doing them weekdays in March at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we also have a survey that you can complete that we're going to share in the comment thread. All you need to do is click that, complete it once. We're going to do a giveaway of some items this Friday. Complete the survey. Question number 4 is tell me what you'd like to see in these. And we are adapting the content to be able to help you in your business. So want to thank everybody. Hopefully you're doing well personally and the health of your family. And hopefully you are planning for the health of your future business during this time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.